Hello and welcome to the Good Girl Confessional podcast. I am, of course, your host, Sandy Lowres, and the Good Girl Confessional podcast is proudly brought to us by WB40, Women Beyond 40. And, we like to think of it as lube for your mind. You can check us out at wb40.com. Before we begin today's podcast, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which this podcast is recorded, and that is the Wiradjuri people of the Kulin Nations, and I pay my respect to their elders past, present, and those emerging. And I would like to pay homage, actually, to their ancient history of storytelling. Today in the podcast, I am very excited to talk to two women. They're a mother and daughter duo, Faye and Lauren. They are extraordinary business owners, entrepreneurs, and fashion designers, and their brand motto has been going since 1985. They both bring so much passion and energy to this brand. Their online presence literally exploded during COVID. I love the dynamic of these two generations of women working together and the energy that they bring into the world and into their business. Please welcome to the Confessional, Faye and Lauren.
Hey there! When Sandy's not interviewing kick-ass women, she's hanging out with me at Alex the Seal, a podcast about music and nostalgia. I'm Jo Pybus, and each episode, Sandy and I talk about all the songs that got us hooked up, knocked up, and broken up. Do yourself a favour and search Alex the Seal on your podcast app. Love you, Molly.
Hello, Lauren and Faye, and welcome to the Good Girl Confessional. How are you today?
Oh,
Good.
Excited about chatting with you, actually, Sandy.
I'm just as excited as you are, I can tell.
Oh, thank you.
And you both look absolutely beautiful, as always.
We both turned up to work today, both in matching sets, like the bottom half of us matches the top half.
Yeah.
We do that all the time, though. It's just like mother-daughter.
We seem to be on
voodoo.
the same wavelength, and we're kind of, similar thinking in the fashion department anyway.
I absolutely love that. One of the things that I absolutely love about your brand, which of course is Motto, is that you are working as a mother and daughter team, but it wasn't always like that. So I guess I wanted to ask you first, Faye, about Motto and its inception, but more importantly, how you got into fashion. What was the driving force for you?
Wow, how I got into fashion. I think it started when I was, something like 5 years old. And the girl next door, I was the little wog girl in the street. The girl next door was blue-eyed, blonde hair, and she got all the fun toys. So she got a Barbie. I don't know, we really owe so much to Barbie. It's a pain. Just remember that, Barbie. And she had beautiful clothes. And I said to Mum, why can't I have one of those? Mum was a dressmaker. She bought one of those awful little dolls with elastic arms. Probably nobody remembers that. I'm that old. Anyway, and they had arms and legs, no clothes. She was nude. So Mum got me this doll that was nude, and I was horrified. I said, where are all the beautiful clothes? And you know what she said to me? The best thing that's ever happened to me? Well, you can make some. So I did. So I made little undies, little elastic legs, like around the, the little undies with the
bloomers.
The bloomers, bloomers.
Bloomers.
Totally. And a little top. I still remember the outfit. It was very, very cute for a 5-year-old, and it went from there. So, but the funny thing is, I'm only a little person. I'm barely 5 foot. So by the time I got to, about 12, my mum was still buying me size 14 clothes because she said I'd grow into them, but I never did. So I was constantly altering clothes. So I guess that was the start of it. And somehow, because I was so different, I thought I was different because I grew up in Adelaide, and everyone it was a really high English community there. So they were very not like me. So I really wanted to fit in because, as you do when you're, going through puberty and teenage time, you want to fit in. So I just made it happen with my fashion so I could get a lot of attention in a different way. Yeah. And that would have been the start. Apart from that, I did get a job offer when I was at school, believe it or not. It used to happen back then. I don't know if that happens now, to work for Witchery. And that's where I started my career. And I stayed there for a long time until then I went to Just James, but it's a short time, and then started my own business as well because it was always my dream. And it was really, I understood way back there what a difference fashion makes. Even, well, at that young age, I was trying to transform myself every day. I guess that's where it really all started now that I think of it. This is very deep, by the way, Sandy. Thinking about it, that was the pivot point. It
I'm
can really make you whatever you want to be, basically, with fashion.
I'm just thrilled that I actually asked you that question then, because
You definitely got an answer.
Yeah. Did you want it that long? Or was that too much?
I do want it that long. I think so that makes me love your brand even more, if that is possible. But I love actually that, and it's really fascinating you saying that, you know, you're the European kid on the block and everybody else was very obviously white Aussie or British background or whatever, right? But that's something also extraordinarily beautiful that you bring to your sensibility of fashion, right? Is your European background, because it is something that no one else had ever really done before.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I always say being Italian means that we're a little bit more stylish. Sorry, the rest of the world.
Sorry, you miss out. Move over.
You miss out. It's all the Italians that have got all the style. No, not really. But, you know, that's, if I believe that, then it's going to happen. And you know, I mean, I have so much stuff around belief systems. And, yeah, maybe that's the truth for me.
Yeah, but I think that's the truth for a lot of people.
Something different.
I think it is. I think that there's a lot of truth in that for a lot of people. I think that, you know, having been to Italy a number of times, and I love it, so I will say that there is a sensibility of fashion there that we just, you know, we're sort of slower on the uptake, I think, in more sort of white culture, if you like, or, you know, this sort of Western white culture. I do think that when you go to places like Italy and you go to places like France and you just see things that are so innovative and so beautiful. You know, like really it takes us a little while. I mean, I guess now with the onset of the internet, we've really caught up quickly, but it took a long time really when you think about like the 60s and the 70s even, and even in the 80s, that sort of fashion took a while to sort of catch up here.
Yeah, it did. Well, you're right. Now with the internet, it's easy. My first trip to Italy, I've got to say, when I met the family for the very first time, because, I mean, you had to go out in a boat back then, so it wasn't an easy trip just sneaking over to Italy. But everyone was just so stylish. Even can I just say the old men, you know, like the old guys just swanned their great whatever they were wearing, even if it was just a T-shirt.
They usually wear suits. Like my non wears a suit pretty much every day.
But he's really cool. I mean, my dad, 96, still wears a leather bomber jacket, pants with his runners, so he's extra cool now.
I love that. But you're actually right, Lauren. Like, you know, when you think about my grandfather used to go out in a suit and his hat, and he always used to get his hats from, you know, Melbourne City Hatters, which are still there in, you know, underneath Flinders Street Station. I think it was a much more sort of stylish era when you go back to things like, you know, I guess the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone sort of dressed up, but that's sort of what we like to bring at Motto. We want to inject that little bit of dress up, and I think that's what the Italians do really well. They dress up, whereas your typical Australian style of fashion is a little bit more casual. It's a little bit more beachside, but we do, you know, it's such a Melbourne thing to be a little bit overdressed. So we're keeping it going because we absolutely love it ourselves.
That was the best part about moving to Melbourne, actually, the fact that they did get dressed. Even though it was mainly black, they still got dressed up.
We get dressed up.
More than Adelaide, anyway.
I will say you're right. I've always lived most of my life wearing black. I'm such a Melbourne girl, and just love black. But I do think I'm wearing a lot more colour than I used to, and I'm seeing that a lot of people are wearing a lot more colour, and I think that really is quite gorgeous about the Motto brand as well. When you get in there, there's lots of different, not just colour, but different patterns and different styles of things that people weren't seeing before.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what makes us stand out, the fact that we're full of colour and all different patterns, and somehow that's quirky.
Yeah,
it makes fashion so much more interesting. It's almost like a wardrobe when you look at it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have fun with that and we love that.
Yeah.
And Lauren, I wanted to ask you, so were you always sort of into fashion because mum was?
Oh, definitely. Oh, my God. Yeah, I was born and bred. I was under the table when I was, 6 months old. My kids were under the desk when they were 6 months, under the cutting table. I was completely immersed in it, and I did love fashion. Like I was saying, from 5 years old when they used to say, what do you want to be? It was always a fashion designer. And then obviously as I grew up, fashion is one of those things that if it's in you, you have to work in it because you cannot do anything else. So I've definitely got that inkling in me. So as soon as I finished school, I went to university and I went and worked in a fashion agency, and then very, very quickly decided to come on board at Motto and start their e-commerce division of the company. So, and then, fast forward 17 years now, we're designing together and doing it. We're friends. Yeah. We were always friends.
I always do this in a photo. Sorry, I've got to put it in.
Yeah. So yeah, it's completely been part of my world. Wouldn't have it any other way. I love it.
Oh, God,
and it's great.
So
and you know what? I mean, it's really, sorry, I don't know if this is a question, but it's so special working with you, love.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
That wasn't a moment. That was supposed to be a special moment.
Sorry.
She didn't even get into
I get
that.
awkward.
It's a special moment for me.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. No, it is fun. It is fun. It's fun working with family when you like them.
Oh, yeah, that's the other side.
It would
lucky
suck the other way. I don't know about
anything.
any other way, but it is good. Yeah.
Lucky we like each other. That's all I can say.
Oh, I just love the energy that you two have, though. This is the thing. I mean, I was very, very lucky to have a conversation with you ladies a couple of weeks ago. I just love that energy, how you bounce off each other. And you're right. I think it would be really difficult to be working in a situation if you didn't just really like each other. I mean, obviously you love each other, your mum and daughter, but you have to really like each other, right? To kind of, and you have to get each other, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can love each other and not like each other. That's the other side of it. But I think we actually like each other as well, which is great. Lucky. Otherwise, I'd probably yell at you more than what you would yell at me. More than likely.
There's a little bit of,
which is not a good thing.
There's the odd mother-daughter banter, but it's always out of passion for a product or a colour or how to style something. It's never about anything else.
And sometimes she says to me, "Are you all right?" And I say, "Oh, am I a bit grumpy? Am I? Oh, of course I'm all right."
I love that. I imagine it'd be bloody fun working with you ladies. I can tell you now.
Our staff laugh at us. Yeah.
Oh, so funny. So Faye, let's talk about. So you go off and you're into fashion from a really young age, and I do love that. And can I tell you, my little heart just is exploding with this story about your doll, who was not Barbie but could have been, and you making clothes for her. I think that's just so special and so incredible. And this whole thing that thankfully for your mum, she said go off and do it yourself. Yeah. But I want to really talk about your incredible entrepreneurial spirit, because you started Motto in 1985. Is that right? And
yes.
And you've been going ever since. That's huge and remarkable for any brand in this country or anywhere in the world, really, that you could keep going for so long.
I think it is.
It's special, right?
Well, yeah. What I remember in 1985, we had a dear friend who was also in the rag trade, as this is called, and he said, "Are you crazy? Don't you know there's a recession on?" And I thought, "Oh, is there?" Didn't cross my mind because I was so passionate. Went straight into it, got pregnant, so Lauren was under the table within a couple of months.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? Lucky I had my hubby there too. We started together, and everyone was saying, look, the first year, that's when you really know whether you're going to be in business. So the first year went, yeah, we made it. Then 5 years came along, three children under the age of 4 by that stage, and someone said to me, hey, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen you not pregnant. I thought that was pretty funny. But at that point, it got really serious. 5 years in business, wow. And it could be touch and go there, but no, we survived and it kept on going. Every 10 years you have to change something in your business. And at the 10-year point, it was make or break. So, and after the first 10 year, you got to get to the second 10 year and then the third 10 year, and we're nearly up to the fourth 10 year. So 4 different eras of Motto and changing our, I wouldn't say direction, because it's always been about women and feeling gorgeous and just, empowering women. That actually has never changed, which is a really good point to know. But everything else has changed. With online, I'm rambling now. You know what I mean? It's just got to keep changing. Otherwise, you go backwards. And
you have to keep reinventing.
You have to keep reinventing, yeah. And I guess that's, I always think of the Beatles. This is where I really go off. You have to say Sandy, you have to say Faye, shut up. I always think of the Beatles because they were around for 10 years and, they reinvented themselves with every album. That's what inspires me, the fact that a band like that looks so different every time. And that's always stuck in my mind. That was in the 60s. I wasn't even a Beatle fan. You know, I had other things going on. But that stuck in my mind, and that kind of inspired me in business, believe it or not. I know it's a bit weird, but that's, to me, how you stay in business. You move with the times is a really old saying, I know, but you do. And if you don't keep up with if you don't stay a step ahead of your customers, they're not going to be able to see who the hell you are as a business. I guess that's it.
I love that. And this brings me actually to the beautiful Lauren, obviously, because when you talk about like innovation and change, like Lauren, you've come into this business 17 years ago, and for you, you must have brought, I guess, you know, a different perspective.
Yeah,
not a whole new perspective, but a different perspective, because you are two different generations of women, right?
Yeah, of course. And it probably would have been obviously in the e-com space because, you know, mum and dad were always like, you're really passionate and savvy bricks and mortar retailers. They know everything there is to know about bricks and mortar. And it is such a different space being in e-com, and especially how it's evolved. Like back 17 years ago, it was pretty simple stuff. There was no Shopify. There was none of that stuff. It was all like you just sort of had to do the bare minimum. Freight was really expensive. I mean, it still is. That's another story. But it was all a little bit harder. Therefore, you did a little bit less. But now, these days, especially since COVID, that's when we can really like explode and get really excited because there's about 1 trillion different things you can do. So I guess it's probably been in like the last 10 years that I've really been able to inject my beliefs because we've had the resources to do it. Prior to that, you were really limited, but now it's just like a free-for-all. Anything is available at your fingertips, and it's just like what will work for our customer. Is it going to be cost-effective? And everything is measurable. So that's sort of my domain to kind of handle a little bit more the digital marketing side, which I'm very, very passionate about, along with the fashion side.
You're very good at it. Can I just add a couple of little bits in there?
Oh, okay.
Got to tell the story of how you came to Motto.
Oh,
come on. We got to share that story. I'm sharing the story, Sandy.
She likes to share this.
I love this story.
I don't even know what it is, but
Lauren wanted to change jobs. I said, why don't you come and work for us? She said, no. It's for old ladies. Okay, so I went for a whole lot of jobs. Eventually she came back. I said to her, what do you really want? Do you want to be a designer? Because she was designing and she wanted to be a designer. Or do you want to just do this online thing? We were one of the very first online stores in Australia, by the way, Ladies Fashion, and it was the biggest flop. We lost a heck of a lot of money, and it went.
It's before my time, Sandy.
So
that's why they're bricks and mortar.
No, hang on. It was before
everybody. Saying, Lauren.
It was before everybody's time. Anyway, but there was a point where I thought, no, this is time. This is time. It's got to happen. And I didn't have the skills, and I thought maybe it's something you'd be interested in. So anyway, she said, well, I'll think about it. So she took 3 days to think about it. You know how long that is for a mother to wait? So she took 3 days to think about it. Anyway, she finally came and said, okay, I'll do it, and I want to do online, but I want to go in business with it. I want it to be my business. And I said, okay, well, we'll go halves. You have half and I have half, right? So one day, 2 months on, driving to work, and she said, hey, Mum, what happens if I make money in the business? I said, well, we share the profits. You have half and I have half because you own half and I own half. You know that story. And she thought about it. Again, I don't know how many days this took you, probably 3 again. That seems to be your magic number. And she called me in the conference room. She said, Mum, can you come in the conference room? And she said, here's $5,000. I'm going to buy you out because we both put in $5,000. That's all she had. We both put in $5,000. She said, so she bought me out. And I just thought.
And now you regret it, don't you?
I regret it.
Yeah, you would have been paying dividends now.
I thought, you go, girl. That's my baby.
I don't like to share, Sandy.
And can I say the rest is history.
Mm.
There you go.
I don't like sharing my money. I want to buy what I want to buy.
Yeah, she must hang on to her money.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep that in. Yeah, and also she made it sound so simple because it wasn't simple. We have gone through just as much of a major, shift business-wise in online as anything. You know, now after COVID, okay, you can say online. Yeah, of course we knew that. But before COVID, we didn't know that. But now we really know how important online is, and it's been fantastic for us.
Yeah, and it took that moment of, you know, stores closing and doing all that for us to
hardship, bottom.
I think it's like when you actually when business being over is literally can potentially tomorrow, like when it's right in front of you. And we do like working together and we like what we do, and you've actually got to think, you know, this is it. Our entire family's legacy is down the toilet unless we do something. It's amazing what you can actually come up with. And I always tell other business owners that, especially if they're either having a hard time or they're just starting out, there are always things you can do that can literally blow up your business. And you know what? They're always free. That's the funny thing. They are always free. And the only person who's going to be able to execute it and do it properly is you. That's very empowering.
So it was the business, the family. Yeah, that's it. Our secret, this is a gem, whoever's listening here. The secret is do whatever you can that's free first. Then look at what you spend, because really there's so much you can do. Like during our business in all the nearly 40 years, right? That's what we've done, and it works every single time. And when you really are at rock bottom, that's when you get your best ideas. How does that work?
I know. You don't want to be in that. You don't want to be in that position too often.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we have been.
Yeah.
And that's where we pull out all the great ideas, but not in the fashion stakes. We're very good at fashion all the time. It's all the other business things that you just don't realise. You know what I mean? And you really have to get to that point where you think, oh shit, can I say that?
Yeah, of course you can.
That moment.
Yeah, it's definitely that moment. And like, thank God that moment for us was when, you know, COVID happened and we got some real good ones out, and it's actually completely transformed our business again. It feels like we are suddenly a startup business after 36 years in business, which is really fun. Yeah, it's really fun.
Exciting.
Now I'll never get rid of her. She's going to be here till she's
I know. I said,
yeah.
Hang on. I said I'm going to retire when I'm 85. But I bet when I get close to 85, I say, no, I'm staying another 5 years.
I can't see you retiring ever, Faye.
Never.
No. Yeah, no. She'll be coming in here no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
My daughter will be pushing her out.
Yeah. I can imagine her saying, "Get off the live, Nana."
Oh, you girls are brilliant. Okay, so let's talk about COVID, because you're both obviously incredibly this is so important. You're not just business owners, you're incredibly entrepreneurial. And that comes through because, as you said, you're thinking about this business now as almost like a startup, even though it's 36 years old. And it has such a huge legacy, right? It's a respected brand, but you had to pivot. And I know that's a cheesy word and everybody uses it now since COVID, but it's 100% true. You did have to pivot. How did that happen so quickly? Because really, let's face it, you guys have exploded online.
Yeah. Well, I think that I can't exactly remember what was going on, but I did have a 2-week-old baby at the time, which was not fun. But
Who did she take after, Faye? I just don't know.
I know.
Who knows?
Seriously. I mean, how do these kids come when you really shouldn't be having it?
Like what?
Like, get in there, get back in. Yeah. Somehow we formulated an idea saying, like, okay, the only choice we have is to be like TVSN and showing people things on a screen. How do we do that?
Can I go before then? Because there was a moment before then. Yeah, I was driving to work. We had the discussion. I was driving to work and I thought, like, you know, my mind just goes 1,000 miles an hour all the time. And I was driving to work and I was putting myself in the shoes of all these ladies being in lockdown, because I couldn't cope. So I thought, wow, I don't know how the conversation went in my head, but at some point, my mind was saying, they're going to get depressed because shopping is such a feminine thing to do, and it gives me a buzz. Look how excited I get when I see something new. Well, you don't know, but I get very excited. And, you know, and it's like, oh, that's going to be gone. These women are going to be so depressed. And there was a lot of talk on the radio about depression and, you know, you would remember that, and more lockdowns. And so that's the kind of the precursor to what do we do? So it wasn't just about, we've got to make some money here, we're not going to be in business. That was like the last thing. Of course it was there, because otherwise what were we going to do? And we didn't want to lose our love, did we?
No, definitely not.
So just that one step back was, okay, let's go to people's homes. Yeah. And then you thought,
we can be like then we can do the TVSN and we can be like those ladies.
Yes, because she's really good at this. My lovely daughter here was so good. It was a brilliant idea. I loved it.
So then somehow we ended up rolling around on Facebook to someone. I don't even know who was watching. We didn't know what we were doing.
Nobody was watching. I think everyone was watching right from the start.
Oh, were they?
I think so.
Sandy, don't watch. They're really bad.
Yeah, please don't go back a couple of years and see us, because we were like so pathetic.
And bad hair. Bad hair. Couldn't get it done.
Yeah, bad hair, grey hair, awful hair.
No one could get their hair done.
Bad everything, darling. So bad, just don't go there. And in fact, one of our staff who's fairly new with us, our e-com manager, said she went back and saw those early ones. I was so embarrassed when she said that. I thought, oh no, please don't.
Oh my God.
But you know what? We learnt a lot, and that's really how our business rolls. We just get an idea, jump in, and it eventually is perfected. We don't wait for perfection to come, because by then it would have been old news.
Yeah, done is
it would
perfect.
Have been gone.
Done is perfect.
Yeah, that's right. And that's really how we roll. And I think
I love that.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you've seen us on social media, because we're there every day.
Yeah, we do it. We just get in there.
You can't get rid of us.
We get upset when we can't do it.
Sometimes even public holidays, we're like, should we do a live?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do a nippy thing.
Yeah. Because they ended up being like, 200 of our closest friends while they were watching.
We become very chummy. Yeah.
That is so important, though, and I think that this is what, for me, why I love you girls. It's like, so for those who don't know Motto, I don't know any woman who maybe doesn't, but just in case anybody's listening and they don't, you girls do, you jump on Insta, you jump on socials every day, 1:00 you're there, and you together are doing this. And this is what I love this so much. This is not only brilliant, it's just, honestly, this is marketing perfection. You girls get together and you actually are showing off in real time your beautiful garments, but you're doing it together. And so what I love is this sensibility between, the one generation and another generation, and everyone can see it, but it also, all of your fashion works across all the generations. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so
absolutely
brilliant. And I think when women, we can't be what we can't see, right?
Yeah. I was going to say, we make sure of that, because I have to wear it, wear it, and you have to wear it. So it has to cross generations. Otherwise, I'd look ridiculous, or you would look ridiculous.
And then we're not.
And we can't have that.
That's what we say. Not doing it if it doesn't look great.
If we don't love it, we're not going to have it. Yeah. We're princesses, really. Princesses at heart. I hope my granddaughter isn't, but she is.
Yeah.
She is.
No, yeah. It is really fun, and we always say, like, Motto is about a life stage. It's not about an age, and that life stage really, for most of our customers, comes between you've had babies and you're different to what you were before babies. You're just a different person. You have different values. You want to be a bit more comfy. You still want to look stylish. You still want to stand out, but for the right reasons. And that goes all the way through until you're a nana, and you still have exactly the same comfort, look good quality.
Nothing actually changes right from the get-go. You just want things to really fit you and, look good. And often after having a baby, you might go back to where you used to shop. You don't fit there anymore. It's just different.
It's just not comfortable.
It's just not comfortable or whatever. So, so that's where we are.
And our lives, we really focus on all the power of, we call it zhuzhing. I don't know if we made that word up or if it's actually a word, but we've sort of like dubbed that word now, and it's all about how you tweak, how you style. So we give all those tips. Like, you're conscious of your tummy? Well, don't worry. Watch how we tweak it, and then we show you how to get around it, or whatever it is, whatever your thing is.
Yeah. It's not about all those standard things that people think, because so much about personality coming through, and that's what we work on, really, getting that right personality for everyone, because everyone has their unique personality, and that's the fun part of fashion, actually. It's the fun part.
We'll have to style you one day,
Yeah,
Sandy.
maybe come in, Sandy. We should
I would love that, ladies. I'd be chuffed. I will absolutely love to do that. We'll make a date.
Sure.
Absolutely. I love that about you two, though, that you do show, like, when I see you girls and you're there and you're up and you're showing your gear and you look amazing. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Showing your gear. When you're showing your
Sometimes we do show our gear,
Sometimes I do flash.
She flashed. She once
look out.
a boob came out.
I know, and I didn't know until I rewind, and I thought, oh dear.
So we'll get a few more right. No one will see it.
No one will see it.
No, I sorry for our listeners. I meant to say when they're showing their beautiful clothes. What's really nice, I do love that you give hints and tips, and I love seeing how both of you kind of style things. Like, that's just so important, because I feel like you get along so well, but you are actually different personalities. I've realised this through watching both of you.
Yeah, so
totally different. And our style is different too. And sometimes Lauren looks at me and says, "Oh, would you actually wear that?" And I say, "Yeah."
Duh.
Of course I would.
And
I was saying, "Yeah, that's the soccer mum look. That's just you." And she says, "Oh, is it?"
You better change it.
Yeah. So we've got our own thing going on.
Which is fantastic, right? I mean, and this is the thing. I think too that how you can basically create a wardrobe that, as you so rightly said, Faye, really like shows off your personality, because we're all so different, right?
Yeah, correct. And I think people people want that more than ever now. I think even after COVID, there's this thing that, I'm saying this in a nice way, ladies, it's like you're really important to you because you nearly died, you know? So
Absolutely.
That brings out a whole lot of different stuff around how you're going to dress and your own importance, but in a good way. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain that. I just get a sense of that.
No, I think you're right. I think that, you know, especially for those here in Melbourne, and we do have people listening in from all over, including overseas. Bless, hello, everyone.
You are good at that. No, sorry, you do wear good fashion over there. Oh.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do think that there was, particularly here in Melbourne, it was quite a harsh and very difficult long lockdown for everyone. It was quite difficult not seeing family. It was quite difficult not being able to leave the house further than 5 kilometres or whatever was going on. It was pretty tough. And I do think you're right. I think that with that, for a lot of us, we kind of came out and almost went, we're in the world again, and we weren't all just wearing black anymore, right?
100%. I so agree with you there. Everyone's really embracing. People are more proud of who they are, and you're sort of living every day like it's going to be the best day. You know what I mean? So you've just got to be completely yourself, and no one's so much worried about the stigma around things. And, you know, there's so many little things here and there that can easily play on people's mind. But I think more than ever now, people are like, nah, sorry, don't care. I'm going to do me.
Yeah. I think with that, I mean, there was a whole lot of casual clothing during that time because you weren't going anywhere. But there was also this thing, I want to celebrate every day now. Now that I'm here, I'm going to wear my favourite, my best, all the jewellery, all the makeup, do everything, even if I'm not going anywhere. There was a sense of that coming along too, and colour was such a big part of that. So there was that dopamine dressing idea, I think, which came from that. A lot of the fashion stuff came from what was going on during that time. But that's fashion anyway. I mean, fashion just reflects what is in everyone's mind anyway and what's going on in the world. So there you go. It was all part of it. Anyway, it was good.
Yeah, it's great. And it's been terrific for you ladies too, because
we do like a bit of colour, Sandy.
We've been able to throw in a bit more colour than
usual.
Yes,
yeah, we do like Sandy. A bit of colour. We're for the standout girl. We're not for the wallflower.
Yeah. We always say you're always going to stand out in motto. Yep. You can't be a wallflower. No, forget it. No. Yeah, you're going to have to stand out.
Absolutely. And I will say a couple of, really lovely friends of mine, Annette Densham and Jules Brooks are huge fans of your beautiful fashion and of you both, actually. And I love that it was Jules that actually introduced us. So there you go. I think women have just gone incredibly mad for your brand, and for good reason. I think that what they're seeing is themselves reflected back. And I will say, for my platform, which is Women Beyond 40, where we are sharing this brilliant hard-won wisdom of women who are 40, 50, 60 and beyond. One of the big things that drives us is actually showing women who are vibrant, incredible, amazing. It doesn't matter whether they're 30 or it doesn't matter whether they're 70 or 80. We want women to realize they can be vibrant and dynamic and fashion forward at any age, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got nothing to do with age. I mean, I'm out there to prove that age is just a number, seriously. If you've got the confidence, you can do it. If you've got put that aside because it's all about confidence anyway. It doesn't matter what size or shape you are. Really, it's all in the mind as far as that goes. And if it makes you feel good, just do it. That's it. It's not about, I'm this age, I can't do that anymore. I think I'd die if that happened. No, can't have that. No. Can't have that. So it really is about your confidence. But not only that, if it makes you feel good, you're going to be better at everything. At absolutely everything. And so if fashion can do that, just go for it. Why not? Because you don't have to wear clothes anyway, so why not wear amazing clothes? It doesn't matter. There's no point in wearing ugly clothes. That's what I reckon. No point.
Just a waste of time. Waste of time, waste of money. Wear the good stuff.
Yeah, wear the good stuff always. Well, we do. Only speaking for ourselves, we always get dressed up. But sometimes when I go to Laura's place, she is in casual clothes.
Oh, my gosh.
You've got this little bub who runs around and pulls on your clothes.
Meanwhile, when Mum comes over to babysit, she wears high heels. I'm like, it's not necessary. Don't wear heels like not even kitten heels, like decent heels with like a big Diamante medallion on the toe. Yeah. I'm like, not needed, but whatever.
I've got a fantastic story with that when I went over to babysit. So here I've got, I think he was only 1.5 or 2, my grandson, and I had my shoes on. So he said, jump on the trampoline. So I went and jumped on the trampoline. So I had to put the shoes to the side because he said, no shoes, Nana. So I put them there, and the dog grabbed one and had it in his mouth like this. And, he looked at that dog, went up to that dog and grabbed that shoe and said, to the dog. Isn't that cute? He knows I'm a shoe girl. Lucky he did that. So saved a pair of shoes.
Wow, far out. I'm loving that you wear heels everywhere still, because I can honestly say I wore heels every day basically right up until COVID, and then I will say I've really struggled with it since. And in November, my eldest son got married, and I was like, I remember thinking on the lead up to this, oh my God, well, I'm going to have to learn how to walk in heels again.
It takes effort, doesn't it?
She literally wears heels everywhere. She doesn't even own flats.
No.
Wow.
No,
she's little. She's only about 4'9". That's why. Well, okay, sorry, 5 foot. We'll round up to 5 foot.
So heels are very important to me.
I'm 5'2", so I hear you.
You're one of us, Sandy.
Come on down, Sandy. We know how to dress you. Yeah, you're one of us.
I am one of you. I'm one of the small people. And my mum was so tiny. She was like about 4'11", maybe.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow! Yeah.
And I'm really curvy, but mum was like tiny. She was always that tiny person. So there you go. But I can't. So I'm wearing heels still, but I'm wearing them less often, I will say.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Not a bad thing, but she doesn't subscribe to that. Yeah,
it's not my thing.
Even her runners even have a big heeled wedge.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. She's true to her style.
Well, I was going to ask actually, did the way that you designed fashion, did it sort of change beyond COVID, or have you just kept the same sort of sensibility in terms of lots of women were suddenly coming out? Like I know a lot of women who are CEOs and business leaders who have ditched the heels completely, and they're now wearing like gorgeous brogues and all sorts of whatever, and suddenly runners became like a huge thing. Who knew the white runner would come back in? But anyway, so does it make you think about the way that you design fashion when things like that happen?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course. We are still very trend focused, and I think that's what a part of keeping, our community up to date. It is really important that you don't look dated. You have to look modern and up with it. Otherwise it just does age you, and no one's going to feel good wearing that. So we're huge on trends, but what we really do is adapt the trends to make them wearable for the people, for the life stage that we represent. So even, cutouts and crop tops and all of that, they'll do it anyway. But, most of our customers it's not that they can't wear it, that they just aren't interested because they've got two twins on either side and it's not practical. So we do it in a way that they can actually wear that trend. So we're like trend obsessed. Give us any trend, we'll wear it.
Yeah, we are. The thing is, we're not just about us. It's about what all women are, all women's needs, and everyone has different needs, and we try to cover all that within what we do best. So there are a couple of things that that never changes. One is comfort. So if it's not comfortable, we're probably naughty if we do it, put it that way. We might do the odd thing.
We sneak some in.
It's bad, yeah. The other thing is different sizes. I mean, you can be a size 12 and be, this much different from one thing to another. So that's where the stretch thing comes in. So we're big on stretch fabrics. We make it so that anyone can wear it, basically. And the other thing is, we understand that a lot of people would want sneakers, for example. They're not going to wear my kind of shoes. I mean, I do it because I like it, but probably not too many people that would do that. So most of our clothes you can because they're separates, you can wear them anyway, and that's where the zhuzhing comes in. We kind of take care of all that, and we change with the times and whatever is going on in the world, like I said before, that's what trends are.
Yeah, and we're very reactive, like if something happens today, we are on it today. We're not waiting around, we're changing things. We change things literally when there's fabric on the cutting table. If we're getting an inkling that something's different, and it could be literally the size of the width of the back of the collar, we're changing it. So I think that's probably also part of our success, because nothing is ever too hard, and nothing is ever, We've done it. Let's let it go. No,
we're just
not letting it go.
Unfortunately, we change it right up until it cannot be changed anymore.
And our staff don't like it.
Sometimes our staff go, you have to do that. Yes, just do it.
Yeah, like the number one interview, like when we're interviewing, like if they can't cope with change, they're just not going to be right for Motto. You know,
we're not going to like it.
They're not going to like it. And I remember we interviewed someone who has come in and is in sort of a design assistant role. And the first thing I said was, how do you handle change? She's like, I've worked with designers. I get it. They're changing it 20,000 times right to the last minute. I'm like, all right, you're hired.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. So anyway, so.
Especially her. She's worse than me.
Well, the reason for that is not because designers can't make up their minds. It's because there's new information always being downloaded from everywhere. You talk to someone, you get an idea, you see someone walking down the street, you get an idea, you go online and see something and there's another idea, and all of a sudden it means something different to what you thought yesterday. So of course you've got to change it. Have to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I should mention, though, as much as we're saying about innovation and how things change all the time, which they do, and they're brilliant, by the way. But you do have some pretty amazing staples that run through Motto as well. You've got, pants that everybody swears by. Tell me about the pants.
Yes, the Miracle Pants. There's a few signature styles that we are sort of a bit famous for, one being the Miracle Pant. And there's a few other things, like we've got our blogger shirt, the Siska blazer, the new T-shirts that you've designed.
The T-shirts are great. Hold that thought on T-shirts. We actually have that core, and some things have been around for even 10 years, haven't they, when we're talking about Miracle Pants and blazer. I mean, we modernise them all the time, but the basic shape, they're so good we don't want to change them. Yeah, so they're great.
And they're our bread and butter.
And now it looks like our T-shirt's going to be in that group.
Yeah.
Amazing. Can I say this? What amazing T-shirts.
Yeah, because she actually is an artist. She actually designs so they're your domain. I didn't help.
No.
I helped take the photo of the print.
Yeah.
That didn't take much effort.
She had to do the computer stuff.
I did the computer
side.
thing.
I did all the rest. And there's so many more coming. So I think that's going to be one of our staples anyway. Coming back to staples, yes, of course we do. And our camis, we're known for our camis, known for some of those, tube skirts we do. We're really known for core pieces, which are fantastic, and then mixed with something like this, it's so easy to put a wardrobe together. Now that I think about it, you just have those staple pieces and add the fancy bits later, and you're a standout. Isn't that great?
It's brilliant. It's beautiful. And so there you go. So where do these concepts come up for? So how did you know you were on a winner, say, when you designed the Miracle Pant? And I should tell you can tell everyone what the Miracle Pants look like for those.
So the Miracle Pant is basically a tight pant, and it's made out of a really thick fabric, and what it does, it is actually shapes your body to be like really bootylicious, perky butt, like a push-up bar for your butt. Delicious. It's got special darting. It's like literally fingers lifting up your backside, and it took probably about 2 years for us to get that right. It was very labor intensive, very long, non-stop fabric back and forth, and when we nailed it, an influencer happened to just bypass a pair. She wrote a blog on it and it went viral, and it has never stopped, and that was back in 2018. Wow. So we can't keep up with it. Right now we're selling more than we can even make. It's really, really exciting. But the whole thing is, if it didn't really do what we said it would do, no one would want it. People come back for a 10th pair. We're going to send you a pair, Sandy.
Yeah, you love it, Sandy.
You need a pair. So
it sounds like every woman needs a pair.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they probably literally every woman probably already has a pair. That's how many we've sold. But it's one of those iconic pieces that really can't, no one else can do it because it was so hard to do. Everyone else would just give up. Yeah, but we don't give up. We're not quitters.
Nah, we never ever. Another gem. If you give up, you lose. It's really bad, wasn't it? Sorry, that was a really bad line, but it's true.
No, but
it's actually, give up, you're going to get there.
I agree.
I remember telling the kids that, the one who's going to give up is the one who's not going to win, actually. So don't give up and you'll be the winner in everything, even when the kids were racing, that's how it works in everything anyway. Yeah.
Insightful.
I know it sounds corny, but
can you tell my kids that too? You can pass that on.
I think I better pass it on. All right. Okay.
Look, I don't think it sounds corny. I think it's such a truism if we're honest. I mean, I remember, when I decided I was going to start this platform, for example, at my age in my 50s, and I had friends say, "Why? Why would you do that?" And I said, "Why wouldn't I do that?"
Yeah, exactly.
I think your brand, what you bring to this brand still, Faye, and what, why it's so beautiful to see you working so closely with Lauren is that you're still learning every day and you're still curious about everything every day, whether that's fashion, fabric, styles, whatever's going on. Do you think that's what keeps you so young?
That's what I tell people. Who knows? But to me, I'm always in kindergarten, because otherwise I say I'll get really old really fast, because as soon as you think you know it, you actually stop learning. And that's always been one of my things as well. Well, certainly in the past, 20 years. I think I thought I knew everything up till I was about 40, 45. And then I started realising I actually knew nothing. And then when I started thinking like that, I started learning a lot. And it's fun. It's fun learning. It does keep you young, keeps your heart glowing. It really drives you, because you just got to know and you want to know. And, sometimes I'm a bit painful, because I keep saying to Lauren, do you think I should learn that? She said, Mum, you
like Photoshop. I'm like, Mum, that's literally a 4-year degree in graphic design.
I can do that, but you won't let me. There you go.
Because
it's one of those things I might do when I'm 85 and got nothing else to do. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So if you ever need a graphic designer, Sandy, Faye's going to learn. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I won't do that, but I can paint. I can paint a beautiful painting for a T-shirt. There you go. That's close, isn't it?
Yeah, that's close.
Yeah, okay.
That's incredible. I love that. Obviously you're both creatives. You couldn't be in fashion if you weren't both creatives, and you couldn't do everything that you do too, Lauren. Like all this behind the scenes stuff, the marketing and the visual stuff. You're incredible. And I think obviously that's your creative passion coming through.
Oh, definitely.
Well,
yeah. No, I love it. I love every bit of it. And it's a good balance with the fashion side too. The fashion sides, if we get in the zone and we're at the design table, like we could lose 3 days and really do a lot of work. You've just got to be in the right space. Whereas the marketing side, you can actually, it's very tangible and you can measure it, and it's like a finished task that you can see you're doing. Whereas design's just, we've got 50,000 things on the go all the time, and it's always blending and merging. So it's a good balance to have the two.
Mind you, we love the reporting. We need that, otherwise we never know.
Yeah, you got to know about all that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we're probably just a perfect match.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, who would have thought? Mother and daughter, perfect match.
You are a perfect match. You're amazing. I guess, before we finish up, I would love for both of you to share what is some advice for women who are out there, regardless of their age, because we have women who are listening in now who are in their 30s, right through to women that we know of in their 80s who are amazing. What's your advice to people who, feel like, for whatever reason, whether it's because they're suddenly in perimenopause and that they're just not sure of who they are, or they're rushing around after very young children and they've kind of lost their way, what's some advice you would give to women who feel like they've kind of just lost it? Like, I don't feel attractive and I don't feel confident. What's your advice to them?
Do you want to start?
I'd probably say, and this is easier said than done, but align yourself with people that actually lift you up. And those people, you might not be able to go out and meet these people face to face, but in like Facebook groups, for example, Motto has one if they don't know where to find one, but there's so many places where people will allow you to feel beautiful. So that's what I would say. Align yourself with different people, or just people, because I bet you anything, people in that position are probably not aligning themselves with enough people. Things like listening to your podcast, well, that's already coming into your world. That will uplift them, let them see a new perspective. That's what I would do.
I love that. I think that's a fantastic way to start.
You can't copy
stole
mine.
The show.
You can't copy
mine.
Can't
get better than
that.
You've
got to get your own.
I'll try.
Get your own.
But I do love that, because if you're not surrounded by the right people, hey, you're not going to expand. You need to expand, because if you're stuck where you were, you've obviously got the circle of friends that keep you there because they feel safe you being there too.
Yep,
just remember 100%. That, even though they love you, they may want to keep you there.
You don't have to ditch them.
No, don't ditch them. Just get a couple other friends.
Yeah, expand. You can be me and Faye's friend. Anyone listening, if you can't find one, you can be our friend.
You can be our friend. Okay, so, I was going to take a totally different tangent, thinking about when I felt absolutely useless. Let me think. I reckon never give up, because if you keep on going, eventually you'll find your way. And start with something really, really small, and it might be as simple as a new lipstick, change your eyebrows, freshen up your makeup, just with the things you have. It's not about spending money. Get something that makes you feel and look gorgeous, because just that little thing on its own gives you that confidence to take the next step. And like I say, never give up. Don't stop there. My goodness, by the time you get to the other end, you will be just like us, eh?
I think at this point, no one wants to be like us. I think we exhaust people.
Mean is, major tide now. Yeah. Now, what I mean is, you'll make the most of your wardrobe. You'll make sure that you put makeup on every day and do your hair, because those things you think are nothing. But let me tell you, when I just add new eye makeup, and I'm still doing it at my age, just by adding new eye makeup.
I noticed it at my. Sorry, not my age. Just
just by adding new, like a lip line. I know you can't see it, but I've just started doing this the past couple of days, and I feel $1 million just by doing that, and that's nothing. It's a cheap little pencil stick from Coles. Actually, I wanted to test it out, and it's worked. It's amazing. But little things just to bring you forward. That's really what you want to do. You just want to move forward, so it's not scary. I reckon that's important, because a lot of people that are in a position where they're feeling down. There's a scary world out there, and it is. There's all these powerful women, powerful men, all these, I don't know, people that you might think are better than you, but they're not.
No, they're not, because they're thinking the same thing.
They're thinking the same thing anyway. So, yeah, and don't give up. Keep on taking baby steps and you'll get there.
Oh, such beautiful. And
you didn't steal mine. No,
I didn't steal yours. No, yours is fantastic, darling. I loved
it. You girls are both so bloody brilliant. I love it. I love your hard-won wisdom. I always say women have hard-won wisdom. We're never handed it to us on a silver platter. That's for damn sure. And I love your wisdom, and I love how you work together, which is so beautiful. And I love that advice, both of you. But I will say, if I'm having a particularly rough day, I do pull out a red lipstick. So there you go. It's always the way.
You knew, didn't you? Yes.
I do think that's sound advice and really important. I absolutely will be putting up all the links in our show notes and across our socials to where everyone can join both of you in your group, in the Motto group, where they can find Motto, have a look at the fashion. They can check you out when you're doing your lives every day, and they can get some beautiful tips and hints and tricks on how to style things, which I absolutely love. I think everyone will fall in love with your fashion if they haven't already. And I love that you're both Melbourne girls as well. Fantastic. How amazing. And amazing that you're online and going great guns online, which means anyone all over the world really can see what you're doing and
absolutely.
and
can fall in love with you girls as well. There you go.
Oh, thank you so much, Sandy.
Can't wait. We love you too. We always do this. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thanks so much for your time today.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Good Girl Confessional podcast. The Good Girl Confessional podcast is brought to you by WB40, Women Beyond 40 magazine. Available now at WB40.com. The Good Girl Confessional podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to quality podcasts. We're also now available on YouTube. We chat with really interesting women about their hard-won wisdom, but it really helps us if you can subscribe, like, and share the podcast. Thanks so much for your support. Bye for now.